en los 30. Me acuerdo que mi papi, mira, ese se está poniendo corto. Dile porque no sé qué.
Well, let me start off by saying that, man, things are crazy. Paul, I thought you were a fan. Whatever. Your mom's a bitch. Yeah, things are back in order. Absolutely. Last 2 or so weeks, things were kind of all over the place. We improvised, you know, when you know how stuff works, you can always figure something out. However, yeah, it's just I wish I long for structure to a certain extent, even when I'm not going through a phase where, you know, load progression is the ultimate goal. So yeah, we're going to start getting on some sort of like formal schedule. The issue though is I have a trip coming up in about a week, heading over to Europe, and the issue with that is you know, the first leg is, well, I'm going to go present in Germany at a gym, and the facility looks top notch, so that's figured out. Like, we're good there. But the issue becomes, what am I going to do afterwards, right? Especially since I've kind of not been as on point as I would like. But I've done my research in the places where I will be staying. So it's going to be Cologne, Germany, Brussels, Barcelona, Madrid, and then back to Paris. I kind of scoped out the areas and know what gyms are most likely to be appropriate for what I want to do, and yeah, we'll go with that. We'll basically do a lot of drop setting, a lot of myo reps, things that save me time, but yeah, still get me some good quality reps, and I don't have to focus necessarily on like lifting like super heavy and progressive, because that's the thing, like when it's not your iron, it just feels the same. So I'd rather save that like until I get back. So yeah, that's what is going to happen these next few weeks. I'll definitely bring you guys along so you guys can see how we make stuff happen as we go. Well, what I think a lot of you guys, especially those who know me, is like, bruh, you ain't even going to record. Like, you say you are and you're not going to do it. However, I feel that because I want to keep some memoirs of the trip, some memories, I want something that I can look back at. I'm definitely going to try to record as much as possible, even to the point that it's like kind of annoying, because every time I have done that, when I have been doing something similar to this is like the biggest trip I've ever been on, like ever. Like, I've never vacationed for that long. Yeah, every time I've, like, you know, just been spending at least some of my time behind the camera, like afterwards I have a lot of stuff to look forward to, and it like really reconnects you with the good memories you made while you were there. So yeah, it's gonna be for you guys, so you guys can learn about how to be a nomadic bodybuilder, and then for me it's gonna be yeah, it's gonna serve as like, hey, my 2018 Europe trip. So yeah, that's what I got. I'll leave it here. So whatever leftover ube jam I had, a few pieces of Ezekiel bread, chocolate milk. I don't know the macros, it's a lovely thing.
Iron Prodigy. There we go. The gym, the place where it happens, the place where basically it's my favorite gym I've ever belonged to. So many things about it. It's just so right. Atmosphere, equipment, and just like the fact that the owner, just super cool dude, super supportive of me filming, and then lately there's been kind of a culture change in there. As you guys will see in later, actually we'll throw a kid up in here pretty soon. But I've been training with some of the young bloods, and it's been pretty awesome. I really vibe off the energy, because by the time I make it in there, there's always some grown-ass man, real world, get to me moments that took place prior to that, and it helps, yeah, to just like come in here and just like, yeah, just hang out with the boys, and we just get work done and have a good time, and it's a lovely thing. yeah, so we're still kind of improvising, kind of still figuring out some stuff. This thing here, this, come on, dude, respect it. This seal row here is going to be back in the rotation, absolutely. I forgot how much I love it. And yeah, fantastic movement, super safe movement. If you put a towel by your face, yeah, you know, germs. But yeah, I even got the crew doing it, as you're going to see in a second here. But yeah, I completely forgot how awesome the movement is, and and then also, especially as my other movements start to pick up, the good mornings, the squats. It's kind of nice to have a torso that, yeah, just will behave and isn't too fatigued from days where, you know, like having to keep yourself in a certain position isn't necessarily a must, isn't a part of the movement. So if you can find a row that's kind of like a caddy, right? It's like riding in luxury, basically. Just kick back and row. Why not? So that's why I'm a huge fan of this one. Huge fan of the inverted row, and a lot of the hammer strength machines, because they do just that. You know, you can get your row on and not necessarily tax out your torso anymore. Not to mention, they just really control the quality of the reps. If you get a rep here, it's because you got a rep. It's not because you pretended to get a rep. So here's the homie Ryan. Kids is just so enthusiastic about lifting. One thing I've been like, especially this group of young dudes that I have lifting with me every once in a while, is the fact that they don't bring baggage with them into the gym, regardless of what might have happened prior. Sure, they're in college, so there's only so much you can encounter in terms of like day-to-day stress, but regardless, they got their stuff going on. And sometimes workouts, you come in super optimistic, waiting for like feeling the day, and then you get in there and it doesn't turn out that way. But yeah, we don't spread none of the negativity, and it's a great atmosphere to train in. So I've been digging my sessions, and honestly, I have 2 gym memberships, but the other one, hardly ever do I venture that way, because good old Iron Prodigy, now Prodigy Fitness, supposed to like not scare away the normals, but in our heart, is still Iron Prodigy is my place. So if you're ever in Fort Collins, and you're ever training during a afternoon shift, if you run into me there, stop by, say what's up. Me and the rest of the crew. So let's see, a few things that we are changing. This is coming back into the rotation, I feel. Good thing about this machine, almost every gym has one. So even if I'm not here at home, which happens often, a high row, super common, which is kind of surprising, because usually the stuff is super common. They're not very good machines, but this machine, man, is it something else. I'm gonna do it yeah, I'm gonna go one arm at a time with this one, just to get a little bit more lat focus, because when I think about what I need more, width or thickness, I'd say that width is my bigger issue. So we're gonna go one arm at a time. Just makes it a little bit more lat friendly, or less friendly to the lats, however you decide to see it. It challenges the lats a whole lot more when you go one arm at a time. So yeah, it's like a dumbbell row with but it's an angle that you just couldn't find with conventional gravity. So yeah, I'm gonna go with this, especially since the seal row is just like, your whole mid back is on fire after that movement. Even if you're not necessarily super good at leading with your scapula, there's really no way around it. So yeah, this is gonna be a unilateral thing, and of course, outside of this, we're going to still take part in my flying machine, my lat pullover, which again, like, I'm banking on this thing. Like, I really hope that it's my answer during this off season, and it just completely just reconstructs my back. One thing about being on this contraption here is I was picking out the videos that I wanted to use this week. It's my quads. My quads have never looked this sharp, grainy, and I don't think, especially the vastus medialis, the teardrop. It's never been so prominent ever before, and I have super prominent teardrops to begin with. They've always been a little like odd looking. I remember before I even started lifting weights, just sitting in the bench waiting. Waiting. I think it was a kickball game with friends, and I was like in 6th grade, and yeah, one of my friends looks at my legs, and he's like, dude, what's wrong with your legs? They look like crooked, right? Like it, like it, to him it looked like a dislocated knee or something. So it's always been a flamboyant muscle belly, but of late it's been outrageous. It's been yeah, it's been more than flamboyant. It's been like Richard Simmons, and I think a lot of it has to do with the hack squat that I have been using, which I am about to take out of the rotation, just because structurally even though that hack squat is fantastic in regards to targeting your quadriceps, the hack squat that you see me doing every once in a while, that green contraption, the issue with it is it's just yeah, your hips really can shift into a proper position, which is one of the reasons that it's like so harsh on your quads, but because of that it's also harsh on your ankles, on your knees, and I can only take so much of it, especially as I've gotten stronger. So I might just need to back off for a minute and then bring it back into the rotation. We do have a hammer strength hack squat, which kind of lets you break inside your hips. Super unique for a hack squat, and leave it to hammer strength to create something like that. I don't have any footage of that hack squat. I haven't used it yet, but that's what I'm going to go with. And it's the hack squat contraption that like a lot of people sometimes do facing the other way. So that one, that hammer strength plate loaded machine. But yeah, this is still going to be my jam. This one we're going to keep in here as long as we can. Some way we're going to figure out a way to throw that in here. Hey, guess what? I did some shrugs. So I avoid shrugs simply because I do have a minor bone spur in my right shoulder. And sometimes this irritates it. It's something that I've avoided getting surgery on because I have so far. I've just found ways to work around it. But this is the one thing that does irritate it is shrugging upwards. And then just like from personal experience, people either have traps or they don't. Yeah, it's just like people who have traps. People who don't. So I think it's right up there in terms of genetics. With ab structure is trap structure. So yeah, most people who have them, they row, and maybe sometimes every once in a while they might hit some traps, but usually it's just something that it was picked up on from like non-shrugging movements. What else, man? What else? This off season, one thing I've kind of this one is honestly just to make me feel a little bit better about myself. So my elbow flexors, right? Especially those big ones on the side, the Phil Heath muscles. Yeah, those right there. I've always they've always been super prominent on me, but I've never really trained them directly. They get a lot of work from rowing, especially if you row with a neutral grip, which especially with pull downs, I've in the past when I've done pull downs, that's been that's my favorite way of doing it, because I tend to get the most lat activation personally. Doesn't mean you will, but I do when I do it that way. So but other than that, I've never really trained them directly. So I think this off season, I'm like, hey, let me see how big I can get these things. And since I'm going to be, a little bit on the softer side, it's like I might as well, look good in a t-shirt, right? Like look like I have my life under control. So that's why we're going to go with that. A little bit of this extra work here and there, just to see what happens. Like maybe they'll become like I don't know, like a something just like almost gross and offensive, I hope. But either way, it feels good. They tend to recover super quickly. And yeah, we're gonna commit to it this off season. So hey, I got you two videos of me doing this. Fantastic, right? Let's see. And no, we didn't, because I refused to make you guys sit through that 2 times. So the boys, these are some of those young guys I was talking to you guys about, the dudes that come in here and we get our lift on. They're all for the most part power lifters, but nevertheless, like all power lifters, they seem to like me and I'm allowed to hang out with them. So that's been the case. We've been hanging out in this corner, especially when I do try to time my heavy squat rack days to kind of fall on the same days that they're doing it, so that we can kind of just hang out on the same side. This hip hinge has been, like, I guess, one of the best discoveries this offseason. I've always struggled with and it's crazy because I think my actual deadlift form is quite good, but that's not a full hip hinge. So a full hip hinge just doesn't come very naturally to me. Whoa, what happened there? We'll leave that in. But this one does. This one just feels just as natural as can be. I don't have to think really. I just brace and do my thing. I think that the best part about it is, one, that I can, obviously, like, the bar's on my back, so I know where it's at, and as I look down, I kind of can see where the center of my foot is, and I just try to park the bar there. And if anything, a big cue that works for me, and it just makes me hinge back even more, is I try to park the bar behind the middle of my foot, right? That just takes the stretch to a whole different level. But this movement right here, I think, is just going to absolutely give me a like lats. I'm like, hey, let's see what that pullover does. But this movement right here, I really do feel is going to be a game changer in regards to all of my back poses, especially with this like monster off season I'm about to have. And we're just getting started with this. So there was a time where, 5 was quite challenging with this, and now we've gone to the point that we're repping this out in the higher rep ranges. I can actually go quite a bit heavier than this, but this is definitely one of those movements where I want to feel. I want to make sure that all the targeted muscle groups are that it's being, the load is being dispersed exactly how I want. It definitely is a high risk movement. I'd say a high risk movement if you don't know what you're doing. If you do, it honestly, it feels safer to me than pulling off the ground. If you kind of know what you're going for, it's very easy to correct yourself as you go and catch yourself. And honestly, even better than that, like, just avoid getting into spinal flexion with a bar on your back, especially once you brace. It's hard to do. Please don't try that. It's really, really hard to do. Super hard to do. So it's been, I can't say enough about this movement. And I do want to start pulling from the floor at some point, but I told myself that I won't until I can do 315 like this. With this sort of ease, for multiple sets of 10. Which honestly, I think right now, if I really, really wanted to, I would be somewhere in the 260, 270, maybe 275 range. But again, I want to feel this. I want every rep to be memorable in regards to the feeling that I get. So we've been super patient with this and just kind of working on subjective progression. But especially when it comes to these big lifts, I feel that a good way of making sure that you're using them appropriately, because the thing with these ones is that they have the most potential to have you add load to them. By the end of the session, there should be like no junk reps. I feel almost like you should be able to write a full essay of how the day went as a whole, and how you felt underneath this rep, that rep. Every rep should be memorable with these big compound movements. And again, their main job. Hey, Pop-Tart, it's been a while. There you go, buddy. With these movements, it's that's how you use them. I think that's the best way to use them, is to add load over time. Not that you shouldn't add reps, but relative to other movements, that's what you're going to see the most of. So focus and like Devin right here, focus and just making sure you're not doing any mindless reps, because they have the most potential to add load to, but they also have there's some risk involved there. On my hamstring dominant day, I do this thing here, unilateral leg press. Anytime you do a unilateral leg press, you will find that, yeah, you get a little bit more hammy, a little bit more glute. But on this contraption here, boys, it's like a different level. And check out that range of motion. I've mentioned this before, but my heel is like right by the hamstring. A lovely machine. And because we've been kind of improvising, kind of short on time, what we've been doing, there we go, I'm a superset it. Super duper set. Yeah. And yeah, kind of brought me back to the bro days. Supersets, not a bad way to train, especially if you are short on time. As I mentioned during, and this is one of the reasons that I was doing this, is because on my upcoming adventures, I do see myself doing quite a bit of these. So supersets, boy, are they mentally challenging. But the good news is that it's kind of over before you know it. So yeah, this contraption here is about all the direct leg quad work that I get on this day. On my more ham dominant day, again, even though it's kind of informal, that's what we're rolling with for now. And I'm kind of, as I go through this, feeling things out, I'm trying to kind of guess what, trying out a few movements to see what I'm going to keep around once I establish a solid plan. And again, I'm out of the woods now. It's just this stuff that's coming up. But other than that, yeah, I can't wait to just, like, you know, put the pen to the paper. This thing here, wow, like I remember maybe about a year and a half ago doing the full stack for a set of 5 with good pauses. And I remember this because I was on my way to go pick up Andrea Valdez from the airport, and I was in a rush and I was hitting a PR, and I felt super amazing that day. And I remember after that huge PR on this one, I wasn't able to do that for a few weeks. But that's what progress has been on this one. Like we have the whole stack, we have them all filled out. I'm doing them for more than 5 reps with the pauses at the bottom. If you're not pausing at the bottom, you're really not hitting calves, in my opinion. And then I have a 90-pound dumbbell there, which, yeah, it's like 2 more plates. So this thing here, just again, another hammer strength machine that it has game. And let's see what else. Yeah, and then we do these bad boy or bad girl, but since I'm a male, we'll call them bad boy. These bad boy moves here. We do this, and then we finish off with some direct glute work. We do have a reverse hyper, which, again, super fortunate to have glute ham raise right behind me. Again, this gym is just filled with all sorts of super nice equipment. Like, I really don't know. It's crazy to me because we do have a good chunk of physique athletes in this town. But what I don't get is why it's like all of you guys should be here. They're all at the 24-hour fitness for some reason. So yeah, that's my my bad boy machine. And then we got up on this one, and you're going to see that I do it a bit differently compared to how most others do it. I actually mind the eccentric because I've mentioned that before. Like, that's tension, especially on the hamstrings on this one. So mind the eccentric if you're doing this. Please mind the eccentric. You'll get so much more out of it. And honestly, to me, it feels safer in some ways, especially for someone who in the past has struggled, knock on wood, with SI joint issues. So hey, that's where I'm at. We did it. Here's another one. Takes up 2 weeks, but hey, you guys weren't mad last time. I hope you ain't mad this time. I'll leave it here, and the next time we talk, hopefully by then I'll be a man with a plan.